hustle of the old Delhi. And that in front of us is the Turkman Gate. Somewhere inside the gate lies the tomb of Razia Sultana. What joy it brings to me thinking that I'm walking the same path in old Delhi which once Ibn Battuta walked. I'm sure a lot has changed since then, but I'm also sure a lot has not. Somewhere inside this narrow pathway lies buried Razia Sultana, the first woman Sultan of Delhi. I had to walk many such winding lanes and retrace my footsteps quite a few times because I took the wrong path. But now I seem to have reached the protected monument, thus Razia Sultana's tomb. Who would have thought that in the middle of all these houses and so much of hustle bustle lies buried quietly the empress of times bygone. This unassuming tomb of Razia Sultana is of a great importance for the history of India, and also because popular culture a few decades ago made Razia Sultan a household name thanks to a Bollywood film of the same name, telling the story of the fearless princess who became the emperor. Let us see what Ibn Battuta said about Razia Sultana and her tomb. The Sultana Radia. When Rukn al-Din was put to death, the troops determined by great consent to confer the sovereignty on his sister, Radia, and proclaimed her as queen. She held sovereign rule for 4 years and used to ride abroad just like the men, carrying bow and quiver and turban and without veiling her face. After that, she was suspected of relations with a slave of hers, one of the Abyssinians. So the people agreed to depose her and marry her to a husband. She was deposed in consequence and married to one of her relations, and her brother Nasir al-Din became the king. Notwithstanding the tragic love story of Razia Sultana, she still remains, for women in India, a symbol of power and endless courage, which makes her an icon even in our times. Ibn Battuta, talking of Radia, said, when Radia was disposed, her youngest brother Nasir al-Din became ruler and exercised the royal power for some time. Subsequently, Radia and her husband revolted against him, led out a force of their own Mamluks and a body of disorderly elements who followed them, and prepared to fight against him. Nasir al-Din went out, accompanied by his Mamluk and representative Ghiyad al-Din Balban, who ruled the kingdom after him, and they engaged in battle. Radia's troops were put to flight, and she herself fled until overtaken by hunger and overwhelmed by weariness. She approached a cultivator whom she saw tilling the soil and asked him for something to eat. He gave her a crust of bread, which she ate and then fell fast asleep. She was dressed as a man, but when she slept, the laborer looked at her sleeping and saw beneath the outer garments a tunic embroidered with jewels. Realizing from this that she was a woman, he killed her, stripped her, drove off her horse and buried her in his field. Then, taking some of her garments, he went to the market to sell them. The dealer had some suspicion about him and brought him before the Shina, that is to say the chief of police, who had him beaten until he confessed to having killed her and showed them where she was buried. Her body was disinterred, washed, wrapped in grave clothes and buried again at the same place, and a dome was built over it. Her grave, which is on the bank of the great river called Al-Jun at a distance of 1 farsakh from the city, is still visited by pilgrims in order to obtain blessing. The year of Razia's reign was from 1236 AD to 1240 AD, just 4 years. And after that, soon after that, Razia Sultan died a horrible death, killed at the hand of a commoner. And yet, here she lies buried, revered still, and many people come to visit as pilgrimage this site where she was buried. It is the same as it was in the times of Ibn Battuta. Razia Sultan and her legend live on. The grave next to Razia's is that of her sister, Razia Sultan. And Razia was buried next to her sister. A lot of mystery still lies about these two smaller graves which exist on the other side of the campus. The calming effect of these graves and Razia Sultan's tomb is very, very beautiful within the almost enclosed space inside the Bulbul Khana of Old Delhi.